Full ahead, so I rode in the thousands of kilowatts on ships carrying the flag of the Czechoslovak Danube navigation over the European waters. Full ahead, the same concerns all the 46 port cranes and the 2 Czechoslovak ports on the Danube. Full ahead. This has been a challenge for the experts specialized in ship repairing who care for the ships and cranes in order they are every time ready for carrying out demanding operation. The establishment of our company is closely related with the beginnings of the first Czechoslovak Republic. In 1919, the Danube Navigation Authority was established. Very modest fleet was available at that times, 5 paddle steamers and 40 towing barges. No wonder that also the results were modest, only 150,000 tons of goods transported in the first year. But first ships manufactured in Czechoslovak shipyards came into service. The first Czechoslovak port cranes followed. And finally, the first really our own experts in shipping. The symbol of the ČSPD became famous on the whole Danube. Our pushing tug Spish carries out her routine task during a normal trip on the Danube. Similarly, like dozens of other ships, she carries goods typical for water transport, bulk cargo, coal, ores, coke and so on. In the meantime, other convoy carries also typical goods, the general cargo, tin sheets, pig iron, rolled tin coils, but even cars, machines, structures and many others. In the port of Vienna, liquids will be discharged in a few minutes. Well, this is only a brief review of transported goods because our ships are able to transport nearly everything in full accordance with the customer's demands. We know how. We have a good equipment, technology and capacity. The capacity increment of our fleet is the basic point of our existence. That was the reason for growing the fleet cargo capacity since 1964 nearly 3 times. Of course, also the overall machinery power output of our fleet developed continuously. We need the power for transporting the full-landed barges. In comparison with the year 1964, it means with the time before applying the pushing technology, the overall machinery power output of our fleet has been multiplied more than twice. No matter whether in the sunrise or sunset, the Danube enters our country through the famous ancient Devin Gate. Covering several kilometers downstreams, the river flow gives Bratislava a proud feeling of being a Danube town. Only 18 kilometers below Bratislava, there was no time for Danube to accustom to our country, and its right riverbank does not belong to us anymore. On its left bank, the Danube gives a gentle touch to Komárno, to its port and the town, and absorbs the water of the contributory river Vach, and finally leaves our country at the confluence with the river Ipel. The length of the Danube is not too excessive for the purposes of local transport. No wonder then that our vessels transport the goods mostly from and to abroad. There is a wide field for company activities on the 2,500 kilometers of navigable Danube. Of course, the regularly operated routes are manageable. Let us have an example. A convoy of ships arrives to the most distant port on the upper Danube, Kelheim, in Germany in 6 days. To one of the sea ports on the lower Danube, the trip lasts approximately 7 days. Needless to say, you can use the Černá-Voda-Konstanca channel in order to shorten the distance by some 300 kilometers. The Danube, the river of nostalgic memories of moments, of very hard trials of the riverman. On passing these dangerous straits, only few people know what it meant to fight against the rough flow, unexpectedly being compelled to pass the wild rocky straits. Here only few people remember the destiny of those who nearly failed to come back to their home ports. These are the sections of the Danube where the history of our company passed by. The helpful hand was sometimes unusual. Just imagine a locomotive and water. The special steamer Vaškapu. You can hardly find one who can still remember this well-known chain-winding steamer and her hard everyday work the whole year through. But let us drop the nostalgia now and return to the starting point of our journey. Almost at the extreme south of our country, at the confluence of the rivers Vach and Danube, and a town with its well-known fortifications, you can find the port Komárno. From the past on, the port has been specialized for handling of bulk cargo. But the time passes by, and changes sometimes the seemingly unchangeable. Influenced by significant changes in the good structures, the future of the port of Komárno has been oriented even to handling of general cargo and containers too. Sloping shores. The unpleasant heritage from the era of building the port in the 30s. Therefore, in connection with the future development of the port of Komárno, vertical quays, a new generation of cranes and new types of port handling equipment are approaching us. The present state of technological equipment here, that means 3 floating cranes as well as 16 electric cranes being located on 2 port quays. The east quay extends from the bridge downstreams and the west quay from the bridge upstreams. On the west quay, a wide-scope reconstruction is going to be finished. In order not to disturb the inhabitants of the town by the operation of the port, in future only general cargo is to be handled here. Based on long-term experience, it has a big advantage. It is not noisy and produces no dust. Well, 4,250,000 tons. That is the handling capacity of the port of Bratislava. This result has been achieved by operating 26 cranes and 8 operational port sectors. Furthermore, 205 hectares of port area and of course the excellent performance of 400 port workers. The old part of the port as for cargo handling can be seen as a multi-purpose one. Not unlike in the port of Komárno, the problem of sloping shores arises here in the same hindering way. One part of the port has been used for handling dry cargo, the other one for handling liquid cargoes. The west quay of the port Pálenisko handles bulk cargo like iron ores and their concentrates or even gravel. You can find there 3 special cranes equipped with grabs and conveyors having a wheel spacing of 68 meters, the port crane having a lifting capacity of 19 tons, conveyor belts as well as the telescopic pipings. That all allows this port sector a peak capacity in cargo handling of 1,200,000 tons a year. The container terminal is situated on the east quay of the port Palenisko. In addition to the hydraulic container stacker of Luna type, in this part of the port, 3 gantry cranes having a capacity of 20 and 35 tons are in service. Of course, the customer is offered a wide range of other closely related services. For example, cars, steel constructions or machines are being handled here by a wide range of steel material too. That means these materials are being handled specially here on the east quay of the port Palenisko. The sheltered handling area belongs in our port to normal facilities of a good equipped port. Here you can find 3 hanging cranes having a lifting capacity of 3.2 tons and the storehouse having respectable dimensions of 63 times 120 meters. Handling cargo in all weather conditions is not a slogan for us, but the rule. "100 tons, 200 tons, 300 tons, 600 tons. Since 1990, a special crane and unique, admirable machinery has been in operation. These 2 cranes, coupled together, are able to handle even very special pieces of cargo, having in mind their oversized dimensions and extreme weight. Nearly 600 tons of lifting capacity, isn't it great? The CSPD fleet, it means 40 motor ships of various types, 250 barges, several motor cargo ships and passenger ships. The maintenance work of them to the great extent has been carried out by the ship repairing yard in Bratislava. In 1976, new facilities of our ship repairing yard has been built, which by its design as well as its technological equipment can be compared with the most modern yards on the Danube. The spacey ship repairing hall enables, regardless the weather conditions, for carrying out even repair of every kind up to conversions of vessels, for instance rebuilding of engine rooms, construction pontoons, conversions of barges to motor cargo ships as well as other special works. The shipyard has several specialized workshops, the equipment of which enables carrying out almost every kind of repairing works by their own capacities. All ship repairing works, without necessity of lifting the ships by means of a skipway, are concentrated to the so-called outfitting quay, where a crane with its long-reach jib is of great help. The slipway has been enormously important for the ship repairing yard. No wonder, because by means of it, it is possible to lift even ships weighing up to 2,000 tons to the shore. Needless to say that even the length of lifted ships is remarkable, up to 115 meters. Of course, the powers acting on parts of the slipway excess even 1,000 kilonewton. Well, the dimensions in this field of activity are considerably higher and elsewhere. The The waters of the Danube will gradually cease to touch gently the bow of a towing barge. This kind of transporting barges established centuries ago gradually diminishes day by day. Since 1965, the ČSPD started carrying out the new technology, pushing the barges in front of a tug. The fleet had been gradually exchanged by new vessels, designed and based on completely new principles. Complicated and expensive superstructures of the barges disappeared, the hull's shape became more simple, no crew is necessary now. The pusher lost a part of their length but gained more power and maneuverability. That altogether, with the hydrodynamic effects of movement of a long and slim convoy, represents the up-to-date high grade of effectivity and reliability of pushing technology. Reliability so much appreciated by the business partners. The ship is like a living organism, in the true as well as in the transformed meaning. This way beats the heart of a ship, the source of life-giving movement, the engine room. The modern ways of ship's operation are heading towards an engine room unattended and closed for a period of 24 hours. The present state checking the operation of all engines and engine room equipment once in 3 or 4 hours has been more modest for now, but a separated and low-noise central control room is however a normal occurrence on a present ship anyhow. Demands for reliable and flexible power leads to introducing of new and more powerful main engines. From the common twin engines of 515 kilowatts each up to twin engines of 1000 kilowatts each of the traditional Škoda make. These are the single cells of the grey brain mass, the ship's wheelhouse. During the last 10 years, the design and equipment of the wheelhouses became at top level. The aim was to enable one man to control the whole convoy. Therefore, the autopilot became a common part of the wheelhouse equipment, as well as the echo sounder measuring the water depth under the ship's bottom, remote engine control and another instruments, including a radio station as a reliable link between the ship and shore and between the ships themselves. The considerable length of a pushing convoy demands an excellent view from the wheelhouse. To reach the destination safely and reliably, that is our most important rule, and the destination itself? Let's choose a sea harbor this time. It is really long time ago the first combined river sea ship of our company, the MS Lednice, called in a real sea harbor. In this way the efforts for prolongation the Danube waterway towards the sea came true. The follower of this short but very successful tradition has been the MS Banská Bystrica, the flagship of the modest but very active fleet of sea-going vessels of the ČSPD. She was built in 1979 in shipyard in Poland, having the shipping register class permitting operation in the unrestricted area of seas and oceans. The ship's displacement is 2080 BRT. Two holds without twin deck are able to carry general and bulk cargo. Very often she carries wood, steel, constructions and cotton or phosphates. Similarly, like the two other ČSPD sea-going ships, the MS Kremnica and MS Volen, the MS Banská Bystrica also operates in the Mediterranean. One can find her very frequently in the ports of North Africa, especially in Libya, Tunisia and Algeria. Of course, she can be seen also in the ports of Greece, Turkey and Italy. The ships of our sea fleet operate in a liner service, but in case of need, we can offer a trip charter being used in journeys to Italian ports. Well, the sea ship can be entered only by a small number of specially trained and skilled crew members, but a trip by a passenger ship can be enjoyed by everyone. Are you heading for Vienna or Budapest? Or do you prefer to take part in a sightseeing trip along the Danube shores in Bratislava? The journey to Vienna is, however, more interesting and shorter. You do not need to experience unpleasant queuing through the customs, but instead, comfortably seated on the ship, you follow the quickly changing scenery of the landscape behind the ship's windows. Nine passenger ships are available for the passenger service of the ČSPD. For the regular international service, there are the hydrofoils of Voskhod as well as Meteor type available. 70 kilometers in an hour on foils, there's nothing special for these ships and their experienced crews. They carry their passengers comfortably in any weather conditions back to the shore. Traveling back home in the evening, pleased and satisfied with your trip, you will enjoy a look which you will probably hardly forget. The night came down onto the Danube, but the sound of the ship's bell will not finish this day, and the commander will not order to the engines in order to have a night rest. The night, it is a normal operational time for water transport. The ship emerged into the darkness, proceeds to her destination port. Slowly, but persistently. Of course, while the ship is on the way, the arbor works around the clock. The time is precious. Experienced workers move thousands of tons of cargo from the shore into the ships and vice versa. What to do when the rain comes? Does not matter. We are river people, and so we have to resist some water from above. Only few people know that in normal conditions the ship has been 24 hours on the way. It means during the night in a fog in rain. Modern navigational equipment enables this, especially the radar. Water and again water. Not too high level, not too low, just how much we need. These are dangerous spots, a warning for ships and their crews. On reasonably regulated section of Danube, people manage to do rather much in favor of the shipping. They have built hydroelectric power plants, thus raising the water level, and of course they have added the navigational locks. In other words, a steep hill changed to comfortably steps. And what is to be said about the steps themselves? Within every one of them you can find guaranteed depth of water, considerably higher operational speed and safety. Fortunately, for our people becomes even our part of the Danube gradually reasonable. The Gabčíkova sections, with dangerous fords, necessity of lightering the vessels, restrictions and prohibitions of bypassing the ships, that will be the past in a very short time, because tomorrow the future is coming. The artists are able to soar in the heights of fantasy, but we have to remain on the earth, better to say on water. And the future? Maybe it begins in Kelheim. Exactly here, on the point where the new Trans-European waterway Rhine-Main-Danube channel will be opened in a very short time. Maybe it will start here, where the control of ship operation will be taken over by the computer. Maybe here, where the engines of new designs, more efficient, more powerful, more flexible and of low noise, will be introduced. But surely, the future is here in our people, within their work and wisdom, in their willingness and devotion, professional skills and experience, in people on all steps of the professional scale. Simply, the future that are we and our flag.